G'day everyone, Duckville here. Today we're going to look at another game from the Inferno Dream Team Gaming partnership. One of the players from said partnership. There we go. I'll get it right sometime. I'm very tired today, unfortunately. That's why I've had a bit of a brain fade. But anyway, we are going to watch one of our newer players from the team. He's a Protoss. Of course, we've got a lot of Protoss. We've got a lot of Terran on the team. Not too many Zergs. In fact, I think it's really funny. On the team as a whole, out of about 20 players or so on Inferno Dream Team Gaming, we've got about like 5 Zergs. I think that's it. The rest are all Protoss and Terran, which is really weird, considering that, of course, you know, here in the Australian scene, for me, you see a lot of Zerg players, and of course on ladder, I suppose a lot of people as well probably have seen a lot more Zerg players these days. But anyway, let's get into it. Our blue Protoss down here for Inferno DTG is MadCow, previously gone under the name Mad Bull, but he's changed it around a little bit, so he's now the Mad Cow instead of the bull. So he's a disease and not just a crazy male cow, bovine, whatever, I don't know. Someone get back to me on that one. And he's going to be, as I said, down here in the bottom left-hand side of Daybreak. His opponent, just up the top right-hand side in the red, is FXOJKS. You may not have heard of him too much. He's definitely been around. He's done some things. He qualified for Code A in this just this past recent season of GSL, and I think he beat Top, who of course was a former Code S player. So it's not something to laugh at all. But other than that, he's done a little bit of work in the ESV Korean Weekly, been in there quite a bit. And yeah, so hopefully we'll see some good things out of JKS, and of course MadCow, as we said, a Protoss player from a team full of Protoss, so there's a lot of different strategies that go around. And today what we'll see from MadCow is his little style, using a bit of Warp Prism, not in the same vein as someone like Hero from Team Liquid, or some of those other guys who really like to use them for just singular sort of tech sort of sniping and that sort of stuff. MadCow likes to use them a little bit more for just sort of a distraction technique. So where it's, just throw in a few zealots and then do some damage with them while you're trying to do something else at the same time. So that's something which I've noticed from some of these replays that he sent through, that he really starts sort of favors, is getting a bit of harassment like that in. So he's done a standard little Forge Fast Expand here, going to actually just get that gateway up as soon as he can. Of course the cannon and the Nexus are also on the way, but the gateway just a little bit delayed in that regard, but not too much of an issue. Of course, referring to the delay there, you can do a build where you get the cannon after the gateway here, and based on what he's seen, he has seen that the third has gone up instead of the Nat straight away, so he did block that off with a pylon. So it's sort of up to you whether you'd like to be a little bit riskier with what you get. Of course, JKS did get his pool pretty quickly just to make sure that he could take down the pylon at the natural expand. He's also got a queen and some drones just transferring their way across to the minerals. They're going to get to work straight away, and there they go. So I suppose, yeah, as I said, it depends on how risky you want to be with your tech, but he does have the gateway up now. He's got this probe that's just heading back to work. He's going to want to put that cybernetics core up as soon as possible. There we go. This, I believe, just by the looks of it, this is one of those weird walls where it's sort of an angle. I'm not sure if you can... You should be able to block that actually with one zealot, but you have to get it in exactly the right spot, which is sort of just to where he has put it. But of course this one Ling is not going to do too much. Does see that the wall is up and there is a cannon behind it all. So things proceeding pretty sort of standard here today in this game. We got, as we said, MadCow just getting his standard sort of thing going, up to 27 probes. JKS, meanwhile, getting his own economy going. We've got 27 drones out at the moment. The natural is just completed, and more drones are definitely going to be on the menu here for JKS. So, standard sort of play on this map includes Zergs trying to get just a basic sort of Roachling army trying to deny a Protoss third base over here. And for the Protoss, of course, you want to just do you want to sort of sit back for a little while, make sure you can get some good tech up, including the Immortals, Colossus, and that sort of thing, where you can just sort of move across the map and slowly inch your way through, because of course Zergs like to get up a big spine crawler wall at what is normally their fourth base, which is just around here. You'll often see players get a bunch of spine crawlers along this sort of area just to make sure that it is protected against those sorts of big late game pushes, including those big tech units like the Colossus Colossus and Immortals and Archons and that sort of thing. So if we get to that stage, we'll find out if JKS is going to go along that route, but at the moment he does have to deal with a Stalker that's just poking around the map, getting a few shots off. Of course, if you micro that Stalker well enough, you should be able to keep him alive against slow Lings once Ling's speed kicks in, which is normally something you would see. You sort of got to be careful around about the sort of the 6 to sort of 8 minute mark. It sort of depends how fast your opponent got their gas. But that's when you got to be careful with these with the Stalkers, because they will get surrounded by Lings and will get torn down by those little raspy hands that they have. So, in fact, it looks as if JKS is going to try and get that done now before speed kicks in. Speed is only just about a third of the way done at the moment, but here we go. He does have quite a lot of Lings, so they're going to get some shots in when MadCow is trying to micro them back. But here we go, beautiful micro, keeps them alive. One of the Stalkers on a little bit of a lower health, but there is good creep spread, so he doesn't want to push in too much further into this position here, because of course, if some more Lings come out, then they could surround when they're on the creep, because they do get much faster. And now with the Roach Warren done, Evo Chamber also just on the way, so we can get some upgrades for those roaches. We'll see that for the moment MadCow will have to retreat, and he is doing that right now. The Stalkers have actually just gone back to base. Gonna try and snipe down this Overlord. Will he get out of range? I think he will. He should be fine. The Stalkers do not have too much power when there's obviously no real range to get there. So he's got this Prism out at the moment. One Prism, there is an Immortal going to follow that, and it looks as if he is going to expand. We do have all four gates done, so this does look to be, with the high sentry count here, I would assume that he's going to expand. It's sort of been the choice that Protoss seem to take on this map, and here we go. He is going to move across here, and Overlord just getting into position to drop some creep. There it goes, but he will get it down, but that's actually quite annoying for MadCow that he did not get there in time. Does delay the Nexus going down by a few seconds, but as we can see, it looks like, where is he? There he is. The Prism is going to come along to the corner, getting ready to do some drops. I think JKS may be sort of aware that this is a style that MadCow likes to go for. He's got some roaches that were sort of sitting out in the corner here, getting prepared for drops, but he's actually just keeping them inside the natural expand observer, just seeing where all of the units are and what sort of tech is coming up. As you can see, he was just clicking on some of that. The Prism, meanwhile, is just going to head around and perhaps get in a good position to do some drops. I think the roaches, yeah, they did. There it is. There is an Overlord just across to the side. Did see that there is a drop that's going to come through, and we'll find out if the Prism is going to be able to get anything done. At the moment, I don't think they really will, because this army of JKS is well prepared for anything like this, and he is going to run over the drone that creates the fourth base as well. So behind all of this, as we can see, looks as if MadCow has gotten his third base going. The Nexus just about to complete over here. Probably wants to get a couple of cannons down. There are some roaches and Lings approaching. We've got a whole bunch of the Lings here. There are around about 6 roaches that are just coming across. There was a drop inside the main base. The Prism does escape for the time being. The Zealot's doing a little bit of damage here, taking down some of the health on those roaches. You'd be sort of unlikely to see too many roaches die. I think one roach did actually go down during that attack. Yeah, it looks as if perhaps one or two went down. But anyway, the drone count for JKS still stays intact. As we can see, he was able to continue droning, but back inside the main base of MadCow, there was a little bit of a run by here. Some Lings and I think there were some roaches at one point did try and get through. They did find a sweet spot, got inside. Some Zealots and an Immortal are going to try and stop the rest of this attack. Meanwhile, back up here, it looks as if MadCow is just going to sort of cement that base, make sure it's all nice and solid. As we can see here, a nice little wall up the top. There are no cannons at the moment, which is very interesting. Now, one of the reasons you can see players not doing too many cannons, of course, in games where White Ra is present, you actually don't see him cannon too much. What he relies on is a really good Sim City, and that's exactly what MadCow has done here. These probes are protected. There is a wall up here which will stop most of the units getting through before some reinforcements can come in. But speaking of which, it looks like JKS is going to head in for an attack. There are a lot of Lings here. There is a whole bunch of roaches as well. It looks like he's going to try and get some damage done. Some good force fields will really help here, and he does get a couple down. The Lings do get inside and put some pressure on those Stalkers and the rest of the units that are there, but looks as if the wall has broken to the tops of the Lings getting inside, and then the Stalkers will have to try and deal with them. A few probes going down at a time. Some Infestors throwing down some fungal growth as well. But there are so many roaches here. They do get a little bit more damage done, but they're not going to take the base because there are 4 Immortals out, and that is going to be a huge powerhouse for MadCow, keeping this base, and he does keep it at the moment. Prism, meanwhile, still just sort of hanging around. It looks like some infestors just getting prepared to drop down the hammer of fungal growth on that Warp Prism if it gets into range, but MadCow still keeping his cool, got this third base up despite losing a few of his probes, and it looks like, yeah, he only lost 6 in total. That's not actually too much. The Prism does finally get sniped off, so I'm sure JKS will be happy about that one just for the moment. Meanwhile, his work account sitting at 77, so he is boosting it up a bit, dropping down some more spine crawlers in the middle. As we said, this is a common place to see that sort of big spine crawler wall. He's up to 83 drones at the moment, so looking very good on an economy scale. Meanwhile, it looks like a lot of Lings are going to try and push through the middle here. They are going to catch the Protoss forces on the way down towards the bottom side of the map. Perhaps they're going to go for a surround. It looks like there isn't going to be too much, but yeah, I think perhaps JKS was looking to, you know, get a little bit of a surround on this army with all those Lings, but he actually had none of the other forces that he had were actually approaching from the right side, so he wasn't able to get anything done with that. The Lings are going to have to retreat back at the third base for MadCow. He's got this nice and really prepared again. Does have those 2 gates going up, only 1 cannon, so he's not going to be worrying about going crazy on the cannons. The upgrades for MadCow looking good. 102 for his upgrades at the moment, and it looks as if some infestors moving through the middle. Perhaps they will be caught out here. Some good force fields are going to catch them out, and it does look like they get caught, but they do burrow and get away. Some force fields up to the top, protecting the top side from any Lings coming through. Some more force fields being thrown down. The infested Terrans also being placed down as well to really help out with the DPS, and it looks as if a Prism is actually going to come in and provide some reinforcements as well, but the Dark Archons. The Archons have been brought in now, providing MadCow with quite a powerhouse of units with all these Immortals, of course, able to do massive damage to the Roaches when they come about, but also the Archons doing their 43 splash damage anytime that some of those bio units come along. So JKS has got to prepare for an attack here. He does have that big spine crawler wall, as we mentioned, some Zealots charging in. Going to try and get a big attack done here. Looks as if MadCow is going to get some damage done. I don't think he's going to be able to push through here. There are a lot of these infestors down to the south. They don't have too much energy left, but they do have some fungal growths available. But the Prism here is going to provide some reinforcements for MadCow. The spine crawler wall has finally fallen. Those Immortals proving their weight in gold. And it looks like JKS is going to lose his space. As I said, though, I don't think he's going to be able to push too much further in. He is starting to drain that bank a little bit, but so is JKS. And now with some more Zealots coming in to reinforce the attack, we'll find out if they are going to be able to push through. And it looks as if the Broodlords are now coming in as well. They're going to be able to provide a lot of siege power here. And this should actually force MadCow back. There it goes, yeah. With the Lings able to surround some of the units, of course, and fungal growth going down to stop any units from getting away. The Broodlords will be able to sit on high ground and do all sorts of damage here. Not to mention a few Banelings thrown in the mix with their upgrades, looking not too shabby at all. He's got +2 to Carapace, +1 on the melee weapons. The Broodlords don't have any upgrades just yet, of course, as we can... where is that Spire? I think it's at the back. Yes, it is. The Spire is only just now getting the +1 to air attacks on the way. So MadCow got to retreat, got to switch around his tech just a little bit. As we can see, he does have Storm just finishing up along with Blink. Going to be able to blink some Stalkers on top of the army. So what we'll probably see now is a bit of a switch in the composition. Of course, before we saw quite a lot of Zealots, these Immortals, and then Sentries as well, which provides him with a good way to sort of attack into those big Roach-based armies. But now that the Broodlords are out, along with that big composition of infestors, he'll need something a little bit more mobile. Of course, the Stalker's able to blink underneath Broodlords, and then, of course, with the Archons and perhaps some Colossus, yeah, the Colossus are starting as well, they'll be able to take care of those infestors. So we just saw a drop down at the bottom third base here of JKS, not doing a huge amount of damage, but it was cleaned up quite swiftly. He's now taking the bottom side base as well as this fourth, attempting to get that again. The Broodlords now trying to burrow their way through the middle section of the map here. Of course, that's a weird term to use, but they aren't doing it. I tell you what, Stalker's now trying to move into position here. They do get underneath the Broodlords and find that sweet spot, take down 2, 3 of the Broodlords, and then the Zealots on the ground trying to do as much damage as they can. Of course, there is another beautiful blink from MadCow, catching out the remaining Broodlord. A couple of transfuses from JKS going down, but the Infestors are waddling their way home because they have no units to support them at all. And now MadCow is going to switch up to the 4th base, and he is going to take that one quite easily now that the Broodlords have been taken out. And of course, some of those Infestors were also removed. So just having a look at the production tab here, we've just got a lot of Lings on the way from JKS. I'm not exactly sure what the plan is here. He does have a little bit of trouble when it comes to gas at the moment. He's got to, of course, build those Corruptors, switch them into the Broodlords, which means a lot of gas has to be used. And, well, he doesn't, considering he's only just gotten his 4th base re-established, he is going to have a little bit of trouble with that. But now that it's up, he may be able to get those Broodlord numbers going again. But here is the problem point. We've got a lot of Stalkers warping in for MadCow. He's got a huge total of Stalkers, 27 at the moment. Of course, those 4 Archons in the mix as well. 2 Colossi are also out, so we'll find out if they're going to add to the power of this force. The Banelings trying to get through. All of those Stalkers actually getting sniped down. But first, speaking of which, the snipes are going off on the Broodlords, and now some of the Infestors trying to use one at a time. That's the best way to use them. Just throw in one of the Infestors, let him throw it out of fungal growth, and then retreat. Don't send all of them in at the same time, because that sort of thing can happen where they all get smashed apart by Colossus. And there we go, another big hit from the Colossi of MadCow, and it does look like he is really affirming his spot in this game here. The Colossi are now with their extended thermal lance able to do a lot of damage to the spine crawlers here, and the rest of the army now just blinking straight in. MadCow not afraid of anything. The Infestors have no energy left over to throw down some fungals, and this 4th base is going to go down again. The only real sort of advantage that JKS has at the moment is he does have the backup base towards the southern side of the map, but with more and more Protoss units going to be streaming in, I do not know if he's going to be able to keep up with all of this. And there he goes, he does GG. So great game for both players there. Of course, MadCow coming out with that standard sort of like a 1 robo 4 gate sentry based expand, doing a little bit of pressure with his warp prisms, and sort of finding that nice time to switch over the tech, get a lot of Stalkers and Colossus, no mothership, which was quite interesting, and doing well with his upgrades here, as you can see. So JKS unfortunately falling down there, but he put in a valiant effort. Hope you enjoyed that game, and I'll see you all next time. Cheers.